exercise and it's any more dangerous than a take a game.
What's up? What's that? Someone comment? Sorry, I can't see your name at the moment. I got the sun shining on the screen. Yeah, fucker. Yeah, I'm trying to find something entertaining. Oh, they passed Trump's big beautiful bill, by the way. Here, I'll play that.
When exploring new credit cards, you should know what you're getting.
Hello?
Yeah, and he had to put a deadline on it. Sandra, how many times have you been...
President Trump's big, beautiful bill has passed in the House. We say appears because until that is official, we cannot say that it has, but it certainly looks like it indeed has, Trey.
Yeah, and he had to put a deadline on it. Sandra, how many times have you been on running out of money watch? We have these little countdown clocks, government shutdown. The most predictable thing in the world is the calendar, but every year they need a deadline, either Christmas or holidays. So he had to impose a deadline. It just happened to coincide with our 249th birthday.
Trey, let's listen.
The nays are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted.
I like that guy. The glass full, this guy. The guy, the speaker. Oh, he's the new speaker. Damn, they're even chanting. Got the miserable Democrats. I uploaded the... Oh, did I upload that video of the miserable Democrats?
Without
yeah, that aired at 12:12 today.
On the table.
It's in the regular uploads category. The miserable Democrats. And that gremlin-looking bitch with the purple hair. But it's a guy. It's not a woman.
All right, Trey, there you have it. Your reaction, Speaker Johnson making it official.
Oh, Johnson, that's his name. That guy's pretty cool.
I don't know how many miracles it takes to qualify for sainthood or canonization, but Mike Johnson has threaded the needle so many times with a really narrow majority. Look, I did not think Kevin McCarthy should be replaced, period, new paragraph.
Yeah, he should.
But Mike Johnson has done an amazing job with a very narrow margin. He's just a really modest guy, so he's not going to take a lot of credit for it.
You know, Trey, Republicans really couldn't lose too many votes here. They get this thing with a 4-vote margin. They had 2 members of their own party vote against. The cohesion that you're seeing from this party has to leave Speaker Johnson feeling pretty good about what the next year and a half has in store for him.
He's way better than that gremlin Nancy
He thanked the
Pelosi.
White House because the White House is the reason for the cohesion. So you got James Blair, you have other members of the legislative liaison, but you also have Donald Trump with a telephone. And no one is better at moving people off of their deeply held previous conviction than President Trump. I've never seen anything like it, whether it's the threat of a primary, whether it's personal relationship.
I don't think they've ever had that much energy in that voting room
I've spoken to Congressman
for their
Fitzpatrick,
chant in
his brother and I
USA.
served together. I have a lot of respect for their service.
I don't think they've
to our
ever had a
country,
chant like
but
that
I bet he
there.
would not have been the deciding vote to see this fail. He may have seen that we have enough of a margin. I can vote
Like, subscribe,
the way
share,
I
by
want
the
to
way.
vote, and it still passes. That is not
what's up,
unheard of in the House. To wait
I don't
and
know,
look
you're
and
talking
say,
in
okay,
another
you
language.
got
I
it.
don't know
Now
what
I'm
the
going to
fuck you're
vote the way that I want to vote.
Okay, so the House is adjourned, but we're also being told right now to expect to hear from Speaker Johnson soon. I can assure you that if he does, we will certainly have that for our viewers. The vote was 218 to 214. You saw after the gavel went down, chants of USA, USA. Brian Fitzpatrick, the Republican lawmaker you just mentioned from Pennsylvania, who was a no here. Speaker Johnson was asked about his no in the procedural vote. Who sort of brushed aside his concerns in that moment. I think he sort of indicated there was no bringing him around. We can pop this live shot. This is where we're about to see Speaker Johnson speak here shortly. He said, quote, following the procedural vote, that he tried to encourage him to get to a yes, though Johnson acknowledged Fitzpatrick has, quote, got a number of things he's just concerned about. Regardless, he made it happen, Speaker Johnson, Trey.
Yes, he's a miracle worker. This is not the first one, Sandra. I mean, he's got a historically small margin. He's got a fractious, non-monolithic party. I mean, thank God Gates is gone. Some of the biggest troublemakers are gone. But this is still really, really impressive what he's been able to do the first 7 months of this year, especially since it took Trump getting involved to even get him over the speaker deadline.
You know, Trey, you look at Congressman Fitzpatrick, right, and he's in a Harris district in 2024. There aren't many of those districts remaining where you have a Republican representing a district that was won by a Democratic presidential candidate and vice versa. We are really seeing a much different mix-up in Congress where those middle-of-the-road districts have begun to disappear, no?
No, that's right, but they are the majority makers. So California, New York, New Jersey, those are blue states. But Mike Johnson would not be given a speech right now if it weren't for Republicans like Mike Lawler, who were able to win in blue states. And it's different winning in New York than it is winning in Macon, Georgia. And Republicans have to understand that. The same argument won't work in the South that will work in the Northeast. And the party's got to be big enough to embrace that.
Trey, we're watching live what appears to be where Speaker Johnson is going to speak soon. Obviously, he's going to take a victory lap, but then it's get right to work here. A lot of promises made to the American people, Trey, and one of which, as far as the economic promises made, I mean, this is big promises of growth, but already an administration that has shown a lot of growth. But surely, keeping the taxes lower it was a huge goal and a huge must for this administration, and you're going to hear them take a victory lap, but it's get right to work after that.
And selfies. There's also selfies.
Yeah, well, I mean, the security, you can take a victory lap on that right now. I mean, the border's a non-issue. It's going to take a while for the manufacturing jobs to manifest themselves. It's going to take a while for the next year's tax return to come to fruition. So preach patience, but also take the immediate victories. I mean, we don't even talk about the border anymore. Trump has closed the border. Who would have thought that was possible 2 years ago? Take the immediate. Mike
I knew
is
it
not
was
gonna
possible.
brag.
We
I can
just
tell
had
you
a
that.
dumbass,
He's a
shitty
very
president that
genuinely
probably
modest
wasn't even a
guy.
president.
He'll give the credit to others.
Obama was
but he
probably
won't push
controlling
back on
him.
what Hakeem said.
Large chunk of the Republican conference in your screen right there. Speaker Johnson expected soon to take a bit of a victory lap.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
buddy, I got the
You
green
will
light.
not get it anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Brett. And I'm Jonathan.
This is Darla.
And this is Buddy.
But either way,
We're the
YouTube's
founders
camera
of Farmer
sucks
Stuff.
dick.
We've made an entirely new way to feed your dog. It all started with my first dog, Jada.
Hey, he's stealing the lime scooters. He's jacking them lime scooters. Is that really the truck they used to transport them in?
Adorable, smart dog. But her stomach was just constantly
Maybe
a
they're
problem.
repairing
Nothing
them.
seemed to help her.
Well, let's see how different the immigration bill is.
I thank the gentleman from Missouri. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, Ronald Reagan said one time that no speech should be longer than 20 minutes, and unlike the Democrat leader, I'm going to honor my colleague's time and be a little more brief than that, right?
Oh, you ripped him an asshole.
I just want to say something that many of us learned when we were children. We were taught.
There's a little secret gem.
It takes a lot longer to build a lie than to tell the simple truth.
Damn, they got some energy for him.
My friends and colleagues on both sides of the aisle, we've waited long enough. Some of us have literally been up for days now. But this day is a hugely important one in the history of our nation. We have a big job to finish. And that's why we're here on the week of July 4th, just a day before now, America's birthday. It was on that fateful day, as the Democrat leader acknowledged,
It's going to be our
our
250th
founders pledged
birthday
their
or
lives
49?
and their sacred honor to this grand experiment in self-governance that we are now here to steward. It's an experiment that falls to us to guard and to protect it. We take that very seriously on this side of the aisle. In just a few moments, we will remind the world why the American experiment still endures today and why its best days are still ahead of us. Mr. Speaker, with one big, beautiful bill, we are going to make this country stronger, safer, and more prosperous than ever before. And every American is going to benefit from that. Today, we are laying a key cornerstone of America's new golden age. Now listen, we have a few words of gratitude first. Scripture's been cited a lot this morning, I think mostly out of context, but what I will say, one thing that we know about Scripture is that we're supposed to give honor where honor is due, and that's what we do on this side of the aisle. I want to thank every single member of the House Republican Conference for pouring their time and their heart and their expertise and experience into this process. I want to thank all of our amazing staff members, all of them. Yes.
We're going to pause this. I can see gas.
Their dedication, their endless hours, their hard work made this all possible. I want to thank the White House Office of Legislative Affairs, who have basically lived with us now for the last few weeks. Their patience and persistence and their professionalism is greatly appreciated. Our country's incredible cabinet secretaries have been involved as well. They've assisted us in countless ways throughout this process. Our Vice President, J.D. Vance, helped us navigate so many dire straits along the last several weeks through the House and the Senate. And of course, our bold, visionary, fearless President, Donald J. Trump. President Trump is the creator and the champion of the America First agenda. We will deliver upon that today. We come a long way. We began this process really about 15 months ago. We had a sense and we believed that we would have unified government. We would have this moment where the Republican Party would be given control of the White House and the Senate and the House. And we determined to ourselves that we would not waste that historic opportunity. We've had spirited debates, we've had months of deliberation, and now we are finally ready to fulfill our promise to the American people. That's what we are doing today. Now look, before I respond to the allegations from across the chamber, I just want to take us back to a day that most of us will remember so very fondly for the rest of our lives, and that's November 5th, 2024. That was Election Day, a fateful one for America. The reason that was so important, the reason it was such a turn in history is because the American people spoke with unmistakable clarity. We sensed it as we were all out campaigning. We saw that there would be a demographic shift in America. And that is exactly what the election yielded. We, in our party, had a record number of black and African American voters come to the Republican Party. We had a record number of Hispanic and Latino voters come to the Republican Party, a record number of Jewish voters and union workers and suburban women and urban voters. They came out in record numbers to join the Republican Party and the America First agenda with President Trump. That election was decisive. It was a bellwether. It was a time for choosing. And I tell you what, the American people chose overwhelmingly. They chose the Republican Party. And the reason they did that, they didn't come hesitantly. They came with hopeful anticipation. You know why? Because this is not your father's Democratic Party, okay? They went so far, full speed to the far left. And their radical, woke, progressive agenda, that nonsense that they tried to push on the people, was rejected by the people. These new voters came to us. They had enough of the Biden-Harris madness and all the things they were trying to hoist upon the American people that they just don't believe in their hearts. And they were hopeful. They came to us with hope. They wanted us to restore common sense and accountability, and we promised to them that we would do just that. Those new demographics came to the Republican Party because of open borders wreaking havoc on their communities. They came because of weakness at home that fueled instability abroad, and because trillions in reckless spending put the price of gas and groceries further out of the reach for hardworking Americans. It wasn't right. President Trump and our Republican majority in Congress are fixing all of that right now. President Trump said this week, we're the hottest country in the world again. My friends, that is an objective truth. Hey, listen, how about all the wins for the president and this party? Here's just a sample from the last 2 weeks. The headline today will be, the one big beautiful bill passes the Congress, okay? Fourth jobs report in a row exceeds expectations. A sample of the headlines. What was monthly border encounters in U.S. history? We closed the border. Last couple of days, a new trade deal with Vietnam and all the countries of the world around the world lining up for that. New Penn agrees to ban biological men from women's sports. And they ought to give a personal apology to every female athlete impacted by that nonsense. Gas prices are at a 4-year low, my friends. The Air Force and Space Force
not 5 to 7 year low, 4-year low because of Joe Biden's
3 months early. Israel is agreeing to a 60-day ceasefire with Hamas. Successful strike on Iranian nuclear sites handles that problem. That's exactly right.
I guess that was a good thing, him bombing there. I don't get it, but whatever.
Strength.
I think we need to quit fucking funding Israel,
It's
though.
resulted now in a ceasefire
We need to
deal
cut
between
Israel
Iran
off on
and
their
Israel.
fucking
The
funding.
NATO countries are increasing their defense spending, not just 2%, 5% of GDP. Okay?
No, we're no longer paying for it.
The president got in charge and got a Rwanda-Congo peace deal. The Supreme Court ended nationwide injunctions. How about that? That conservative majority on the Supreme Court also allows third country deportation. We've had a record high stock market, and we're signing a China trade deal. That's just the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks.
Oh, that was a Chevy Caprice on the left, that white car.
So many simple truths to share.
I love those cars.
Because I want
The 2014 to 20-something Chevy
But I just want
Caprice.
to say this. It's really nice to hear my Democrat colleagues suddenly take an interest in working Americans again. Did you pick up on that theme today? Let's be clear. Working Americans stopped trusting Democrats a long time ago.
Oh, yeah,
That
he's
is
got
a
an
fact.
exhaust on it if you
They're
guys were
looking
able
to
to hear
this
it.
side of the chamber. They're looking to the Republican Party and our principles to deliver the reform that they have long demanded and they most certainly deserve. This big, beautiful bill fulfills all the promises in the America First agenda. It is the people's bill. It is made for and shaped by the most diverse coalition of American voters in American history.
Hit that thumbs up. And subscribe if you're not.
Today, we are making the dream of a government that puts the American people first a reality. A reality. I would need this entire notebook to tell you all the great things in the big, beautiful bill. It is aptly named, but I'll just tell you a couple of the highlights. Record tax cuts for hard-working Americans.
That sounds good. How could that anybody not like
Historic savings at the same time to end reckless spending. We got
sounds
energy
good.
dominance coming back to power
That's
our
great.
future.
That's
We have
the
a
best.
secure border to protect
Gas
American
prices gotta
families.
get
We have
back down to
strong military
$1.98,
to restore peace
$1.78.
through strength. And we have a government that is now accountable and responsive to the people once again. That's what we're delivering. For everyday Americans, this means real, positive change that they can feel, and they will feel much more when this
All right,
bill
can't
is
do
done.
anything about
Families
traffic.
back home will have real relief, an average of $10,000 in their pockets, thanks to the largest working and middle-class tax cut in the
That's
history
nice.
of this great nation. That's what we're doing today.
That sounds good. That sounds real good. How can anybody not like this?
You got hardworking Americans
Unless
like
they
our
hate
waiters
America.
and our bellhops and our hairstylists. They're going to keep 100% of their tips and overtime
Oh, yeah,
pay.
no more taxes
That is
on
money
tips.
they earned. It does not belong to the government. It belongs to them, and they deserve to keep it. Small businesses that want to build and expand new factories, you know what they can do now? They can write off 100% of their investment. That will have us a lot more building. Young
sounds
families
good.
who want to buy a home will be able to, thanks to historic savings that will put our country on a stronger financial footing. Pregnant women, children, seniors, single mothers, the disabled, and the low-income Americans among us receiving Medicaid and SNAP will have the peace of mind of knowing that we've made these safety nets stronger with our reforms.
That all sounds great. Where's wonderful at to hear these great things?
See,
Or
when
is wonderful
Republicans are
one
in
of them
charge, we bring
miserable
common
Democrats?
sense. We're going to make sure that Americans who do need and deserve those critical programs
Patriot
won't have to
1488,
compete
why do
against
you
people
claim
who
that this
can
bill
work
destroys
but choose
healthcare?
not to do
Explain.
so. That's not right.
I don't think it just. Why does it destroy health care? What fake CNN news are you reading that you think it destroys health care? Please
This
elaborate.
bill is
Comment.
going to put fairness back in the system. We are returning to common sense. We're returning to what is good and decent that people know in their hearts, and that's why they support it. More Americans will be working, volunteering, and serving their communities because modest, common sense work requirements will restore dignity and purpose to those on taxpayer-funded benefits. The bill will also mean that safer streets are available in every zip code around the country because our
I agree,
borders will
Shirley.
remain
Is he
fully and
CNN?
totally secure. The Republican Party stands for law and order, and this is the side that stands with law enforcement, the brave men and women who are on the front line. The idea that those who put their own lives on the line to protect us would be assaulted for doing their jobs is unconscionable. Law enforcement, I know you agree. I know, amen. Law enforcement will have the help of a border wall now that's 100% complete.
That's good. I need to get those oil refinery spilled.
Our
Patriot
immigration enforcement
1488,
officers
you
will get
didn't
a
explain
boost
yourself.
from more manpower and resources and detention space so that detained illegal aliens are not released back into the streets like they were for the last 4 years. And our
Okay.
homeland
Got it right
can
up
rest
here.
soundly again under the protection of President Trump's Golden Dome. That's what we're investing in. Look, any of these individual achievements would be historic victories for a Republican
This is where
Congress.
the immigration place used to be.
And today we're delivering
Look
on
how nice and
all
cleaned
of
up it is now.
in one
Even got Gary
big,
the Snail on the
beautiful
corner.
That's what Americans can count on when we pass this legislation, and that's exactly what Democrats will vote to oppose today. That's a fact. We didn't write this bill for the Democratic Party, or the elites, or the media.
There it
This
is,
bill
the
is
building.
for hard-working Americans.
Now, why
They
can't
deserve
tell me
it.
this? Why can't we put homeless American citizens here right now? Why was this place only good enough for the fucking immigrants? Remember how dirty it was? You had all the bicycles back there, the garbage
I'm gonna
cans.
say this as plainly as I can. This is a
People in the
simple truth.
basement
If you're
windows,
for
no more
a
tape in the
secure
basement
border,
windows.
safer communities, and a strong military, this bill is for you. If
That's
you're
an
for
immigrant's
common
car
sense
right there.
fiscal
What the fuck are immigrants still
responsibility and
doing?
reducing the
over there? I don't
deficit,
know.
this
Might
bill
be an
is for you.
They had this block barricaded off. There's Martin Salt. You may have seen that design on your salt bottle. It's a very famous
If
salt
you're
bottle.
for fair and lower taxes, bigger paychecks, affordable gas and groceries, and restoring dignity to hard work, this is the bill for you. It makes no difference whether our colleagues on the across the chamber speak for 25 minutes or 25 hours. They can't change the truth. And today,
Oh, here,
today
explain
was
it.
about
Let's read back.
performance
Give me a
for some of
second.
them. But today for us is about results. It results that improve the lives of Americans, regardless of their race, religion, or creed. It does not matter. I tell you what, Ronald Reagan used to remind us you can always trust the American people, and we do trust the American people, and they can discern the difference. What they saw on display here today is that Democrats deliver performances and Republicans deliver results. Today, my friends, we are ready now. We are going to deliver what we were sent here to do, and every American will benefit from it. In 1793, just steps from where we stand today, President George Washington laid the first cornerstone of the United States Capitol. Over 50 years later, on July 4th, again, members of this body gathered once again to lay a second cornerstone. Once more on July 4th.
All right, so let's see what you said.
Congress laid a third
Mr.
cornerstone.
CNN.
And this week, with this vote today, on our nation's birthday being tomorrow, we lay with this bill, we can
See what
vote
this
in
commie
steward
said.
to that great legacy that we've inherited in
Okay.
this extraordinary nation we are blessed with. We can lay another sturdy foundation for the future of this country, a future where working
So the
Americans
big,
can feel relief,
beautiful
where government can
bill.
finally start living
So I got to watch the
means
Bible.
again. And where the United States is safer,
Sounds like
stronger, and
the
more prosperous than ever.
AHCA could
That's right.
mess up healthcare. Sorry, I gotta watch
Now,
the
I'm going to say this, that they mock America and mock everything.
By
and mock
making-
the bill. We'll see how the people feel about that.
it harder for people to get insurance. How is it going to make people
listen,
hard? Why will
seriously,
it make it
let's
harder?
try-
Listen to what you continue to say.
Yeah. What we
It
celebrate
might-
in our organization.
It might make costs go up, especially if you're older or have health problems. Also, it could weaken the rules that protect people with pre-existing conditions.
That's right.
Basically, it could mean few people have good coverage and healthcare gets much more expensive. What article's in there? What part of the bill says that? I haven't read the big beautiful bill, but explain, go into more detail on what you mean by how. I like that chant. I don't think they ever had that much energy with Nancy Pelosi's bitch ass.
I mean this sincerely.
So explain it, more so elaborate. Why will it make it more expensive? What about the bill?
We have squabble, we
Here.
have partisan debates.
Explain to
and
me
all
what
this, but at
about
the
the
end of day, we're all
bill will
Americans,
make it
man.
more expensive,
We
and
gotta
explain
believe that.
to
We gotta
me
know it. We gotta
what part of the
recognize that we live
bill
in the greatest nation
destroys
in the
people's
history of
past
the world. It's not even
pre-existing
close.
conditions, and what part of the bill will make it more expensive for health care. Can you explain that? Comment that. I'll be reading that next.
My friends and colleagues, we are so
got
blessed.
M.
We
Knopf.
should not take it for granted. We live in the most
Who
free,
are
the
you,
most
sir?
successful, the most powerful, the most benevolent nation that has
Where
ever
are
been
you
on the
from,
face
sir?
of the earth. And there's a reason for that. The reason that we are the greatest nation is because we were built on the ultimate foundation.
I'm from the
And
land
the
of the
bold
walking
declaration
dead.
that my
I'm from
friend
Trump
Hakeem
country,
Jeffries
that's where I'm
articulated
from.
earlier. It's true. We
I'm from
unite
Trump
under
country.
that. The bold declaration. We
See?
do hold
I'm
these
from Trump
truths to be
country.
self-evident. What is a self-evident truth? It's something that's obvious.
I'm
We
from
hold
the
these truths to
land
be
of Trump.
self-evident that all men are created equal. It does not say born equal. It says created equal. And that it is our Creator. Yes. It is our Creator that gives us our rights. See, the powerful thing about that is we're the first nation in the history of the world that acknowledge that our rights do not derive from government. They come from God Himself.
California, goddamn. That's no fire. A long ass drive, California here.
You see those words up there, that motto, it says, "In God we trust," right above the speaker's rostrum. You know, a previous Congress put that there in the early 60s in the height of the Cold War. There's a little visitor's guide that people get when you do tours late at night. You've probably seen your constituents and visitors and friends get the guide. If you turn, I think it's about to page 21. It explains why that's there.
Page
It
21
says
even knows the
Congress
page.
voted to put that there as a rebuke to the Soviets' worldview at the height of the Cold War.
That's
Why?
interesting. I didn't know that.
Because communism,
This guy's full.
socialism, find their root in Marxism. And Marxism begins with the belief that there is no God. It's wrong. And this Congress made us stand those many years ago, and we should do it again. We're different, we're distinct, we're exceptional, because we acknowledge that right there, our motto. It doesn't say in government we trust. It says in God we trust. And we better remember that. He has blessed us with His grand experiment in self-governance now for almost 2.5 centuries. And by God's grace, we are working hard and we are delivering on our promise to make America great again.
Hey, can we make the quarters look to the right again instead of to the left? The quarters look to the left again. Let's see if they got a new one. The brand
This
new
is without a
quarters,
doubt the most
instead of
important
the
vote
quarter
in this
head looking
Congress,
to
and
the right,
I
he's
think
looking
this
to
is
the
maybe
left.
the most
See if they
important
got
vote that
one.
any of us take in our entire lifetime.
I always get
And
rid of them
everybody
ones.
better remember it,
I don't think I
however
got
you
it.
vote today. My friends, the President of the United States is waiting with his pen. The American people are waiting for this relief. We've heard enough talk.
looking for the
It's
quarter.
time for action. Let's finish the job for him. Vote yes
And
on
can
the
we
bill.
also make the quarters look to the right and no longer the new 2025 quarters? Dude's looking to the left and not the right, or the 2024s.
With
I
that,
hate
yield
those
back.
quarters. I get rid of them whenever I get them. The quarters look to the. George Washington is on the brand new quarter is looking to the left. He's no longer looking to the right. Trump, can you fix the way the quarter head looks? The Satanist quarter. Ooh, Key Witness is speaking. Hey, Diddy. That's. Did you explain yet? What is the name? Patriot 1488. Did you explain why and how the bill will raise healthcare costs? And besides raising healthcare costs, why and how it will raise the cost, and why and how it make it unaffordable?
To go in, right? Even though I was standing in line for weeks, right? To really be like, oh
Let me hear
wait,
you
hold on.
explain.
I'm in media.
Elaborate
Can
on
I
why
go
and
to
how it
Christmas?
will do the
I have
things you claim it will
credentials.
do.
I have my channel. I've been reporting the same way. That's what they won't tell you. Do you know that there was legacy press and media had the whole right of the courtroom? They had there's a left side and right side. They had the whole right. It wasn't preferential treatment. It wasn't a VIP list. It was a press list. And ask yourself why your fave's not. Oh, you know what? I'm not taking shots. And I'm not talking about a YouTuber. Stop. I'm not talking about a YouTuber. Okay? I'm definitely not talking about a YouTuber. But my whole point of the matter is there was a whole press list. Ask yourself why your girl investigated, found out there was a press list that allowed about 30 members of the press in. It wasn't VIP, but the press. And your girl said, wait a second, I'm new media. I am new media. Here's my portfolio. Here's what I've done. Here's a little highlight reel of some of the hardcore investigative journalism I have done. Some of it is funny, like bringing down Simon's fake billionaire life. And some of it was really hard hitting, like Jonathan Adi. Remember when everybody called me a liar, said I was a clout chaser, said this and that, and said I made up all the Jonathan Adi stuff, and nobody believed it till 2 years later in the mainstream media. I had Jonathan Adi 5 months before the government even thought about talking to Cassie, and didn't even have their eyes on Diddy. And this is by in testimony in the transcript. So I say all this to say, so y'all mad, right? That I literally looked and once again used my brain and saw the webs that tie and saw who was running shit and saw that there was a press list and had the foresight to be like, I'm new media. Are you with the major outlet? Well, no, but I'm new media. I showed them that YouTube has outpaced every TV. YouTube is now neck and neck with Spotify podcasts. And when it comes to TV and networks, is double any other network.
So, 14488, are you explain what you're claiming to say that the bill does? Are you gonna explain your claims?
Okay, they watch it on YouTube. I positioned myself. I am new media. May I be on the press list? And you know what? They looked at my resume, they looked at my real tip, they looked at everything, and they looked at my journalism. And they said, okay, fine. Because they recognize new media.
Recognize, bitch.
So for everybody that wants to know how that happened, that's how it happened. I used my brain. And I saw the spider web, and I said, may I? And it was simple. The same way the 30 members of the Legacy Press, there's no VIP list, but they get to come in, and they had that side of the courtroom. So T said, your girl, new media was there too. Shout out to me. Shout out to me. Okay?
There we go.
I investigated, and I found out. And the people haven't been so busy worrying about what the F I'm doing. Y'all could have did that too. But you know what? It's not my job.
So I will say, and again, for the AHCA could reduce subsidies that help people pay for insurance premiums, increasing out-of-pocket costs. What are the subsidies? What subsidies are you talking about?
To investigate is a skill. And
what
have
subsidies?
The
Whose subsidies
to
are you
actually
talking
see
about?
through fake power.
Elaborate on the word subsidies. Subsidies. What do you mean by subsidies?
Okay.
Whose subsidies? Buying the insurance company subsidies. Whose subsidies are you talking about?
What that power is in any situation. Maybe that is a skill, but you need to investigate to actually know. All right? You need to investigate to actually know. I did the work, and I found out who was in charge. I found out what the list was, and I found out what the media, and again, but you know what? The people that are spreading these lies, they already know this, but they're hoping that you guys don't know, and they're hoping that they can keep that veil of ignorance.
Change it. Oh, here he says more. All right, Patriot 1488.
Let's get into this, okay?
Changes allowing insurance to offer
Chef Jordan. Let's get back into Chef Jordan
plans
what she actually had to
benefits.
say.
Hold on, I got to pay attention here. I'll get to your comment in 1 second. I got to pay attention here.
Let's follow through on what they have to say. Okay, so Chef Jordan also made so she made another thing. She said, you don't have to die to be dead to me. I hold mental funerals every day. That seemed like it was toward everyone who pretended like they were appalled by the hotel video just for them to turn around and celebrate Diddy. Now listen to what she wrote.
Alright, so changes allowing insurances
this was a very powerful statement.
to offer.
She said, where do we, the victims and witnesses, go from here?
Skimpier plans
do you
with
understand
fewer
how terrifying it is
benefits
that the
could
feds show up at
also
your
mean
door?
higher
Do you know how
deductibles
terrifying
and
it is to be
copays.
served with a grand jury subpoena? Do you know how insane really
would make
terrifying it is
healthcare
to be
less
contacted
affordable,
by the
especially for
lawyers of the
low-income
person
people.
at the center of the investigation. That was Diddy. But Diddy's investigators found out what was going on. And guess what? Jason was 2 seconds off their ass finding out.
So you're saying basically
no, I always got y'all, right?
they're going to offer
Even
shittier
before the
plans for
feds
cheaper, and you're
schedule a
saying
meeting,
plans with more
How
cost
powerful
more,
is a
right?
person that can reach over the government? Dealing with witness tampering in real time is
What in the
absolutely
bill
insane.
says that?
Again,
What part of the
I wish,
bill
and
do
this
you
is a
claim
little bit
says
scary,
that?
I wish
What
people
wording
knew how
in the bill?
easy
Okay,
it is
Patriot
to actually
1488.
investigate.
My
Once
question to you
put your
now
mind to
is,
actually figuring out what's going on
what?
and what's going on.
Let me shut
It's
this bitch up.
incredibly
She's
easy.
distracting
And
me.
again,
This bitch needs to shut up.
just me with my little humble channel, I have sources. And the sources are...
Alright, so picking up where we left off. Wait,
What you
let
wanna do
me
is
get
save
up
hundreds when
with
nobody
a
knows
way
what
to
customizes
explain
your
it. I get what you're saying, Patriot
That's great, but can
1488.
you ask your
But
friend
my
this-
question is, what part of the bill says
Welcome back to
that?
Life Now
Tell
from
me what
Fox
part of the
19 and
bill
Francine. Right now,
states
we want to
that
transition
it's going
to the
to
very
allow
latest
the
from
insurance
Diddy
companies
Combs.
to
Take a
offer
look
up
at your
skimpier
screen.
plans.
This is the very latest from
What part of,
TMZ.
tell me what
As
part of
they
the bill
put out
says
on
that.
X, formerly known as Twitter, independent
Did you
say
actually
did not
read this in the
have
bill, or did you hear this on
Combs, as he
CNN?
was just denied bail
Whoa, bro.
and will remain in custody pending sentencing in his criminal case. This, of course, takes us out to the Big Apple of New York City, giving you that beautiful skyline shot this Thursday morning. Sean Diddy Combs denied bail despite being acquitted on the most serious charges in his
they ain't
sex
gonna give him no
trafficking
bail.
and racketeering trial. Diddy will remain behind bars until he's sentenced for prostitution-related offenses.
Don't explain it.
With
Tell me what part of the bill
Christopher
states going to
Of
allow
course, you wanna
insurance
check in with
companies.
Fox 5
No, I don't
News
want you to
Today.
explain it,
He's live
Patriot
outside the
48. I don't want you to explain it. I want you to tell me what part of the big beautiful bill states that it will allow insurance companies to make higher deductibles with plans with what benefits. What part of the big beautiful bill states that that is what it will allow insurance companies to do? Please elaborate. Don't explain it to me. I get what you're saying. You don't got to explain it in a different way. What I want to know is what part of that bill states that it's going to allow the insurance companies to offer shittier insurance for more money. What part of the bill states that?
With aggression.
Or is that just something you heard on CNN and you're parroting CNN?
Because there's potential
Can you
witnesses
explain
or
it?
victims that he could influence, and that's why he kept them awaiting the sentencing.
Judge Arun Subramanian announced from the bench prior to trial the court denied bail, and I see no reason to reverse that now. With that bail bid rejected, Diddy is currently set to be sentenced on October 3rd. But his lawyers are pushing for that timeline to be expedited, and the judge set a remote hearing for this upcoming Tuesday to discuss it. Diddy stands convicted of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Each federal count carries a 10-year maximum prison sentence. When he heard he was acquitted of the most serious charges, he shook his fists on the table in victory. He then dropped to his knees, put his head on the chair.
What page is that? Okay, tell me this, Patriot 1488. What part of the bill is it in? What page of the bill so I can easily find it? So since Patriot 1488 is making these claims and he must have read the bill himself and isn't parenting something off CNN, what page does that say that on of the big beautiful bill? And I'll go to that page and read it right now. Tell me what page. I want to know what fucking page you're claiming it sets this on. Hello?
Meanwhile, the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Southern District of New York issued a statement saying in part, sex crimes deeply scar victims, and the disturbing reality is that sex crimes are all too present in many aspects of our society. New Yorkers and all Americans want this scourge stopped and perpetrators brought to justice. Legal analysts say Diddy is probably looking at around 5 years in prison and believe he'll likely be allowed to serve concurrent sentences. Plus, keep this in mind, whatever his punishment does end up being, he has already been here at NBC for 9 months, so that will go toward his sentence. Again, though, Gina, a virtual hearing on that.
Why would that be a problem?
So we'll be back likely on the story next week to give you some more. We're live here at Sunset Park in Sunset here. All right,
I mean, it's just, I'm doing it live. Like, subscribe, share, and Patriot 1488. Come on the next live. Disturbing video evidence ever shown
won't be
in
getting
court.
to sleep in his own bed tonight. Nope.
Well, there goes the
Not
helicopter.
tomorrow night either, and not for a long time, as it turns out. He won't even find out
That looks like a military
when
helicopter.
he's going to sleep in his own bed for another 4 months. And that's because the judge has set his sentencing date for October, and he's stuck at the Manhattan federal lockup until that time. No bail granted. But you could call the verdict in his RICO and sex trafficking trial a bit of a win, in that he will not have to spend his life in prison. No, not his life. Maybe a long time, but not life. Honestly, this was really a split decision. Guilty on some charges, not guilty on other is sentenced. He will officially become
Hey, so tell me, what page in
convicted
the Big Beautiful
felon.
Bill does that?
The jury found him guilty on
price
2
control
of the
of-
5 counts against him. Both of those charges for transportation across state lines to engage in prostitution, better known as the not guilty. Across the board
So
on
tell
those.
me, what parts of that
And
Big
right
Beautiful
after
Bill
those
do what you're
verdicts
claiming?
came
What
down,
page? If you read
one
that
of
Big
News
Beautiful
Nation's
Bill,
reporters
what-
wound up in an elevator with
What
Sean
part of that
Combs.
Big Beautiful Bill does that? What page is it on? Is that just something you heard off CNN? Patriot 1488?
One named Fahim, and another one named Charlucci, and other family members as well. And to say it was a wild elevator
That's
ride would
crazy.
be
I
an
can't believe
understatement.
he asked for fucking
Diddy's
bond
family and
after he got
friends
found
were
guilty.
jumping up and down in the elevator so much
I mean,
that
it's
our
bogus
reporter, Tamani
charges,
Cristaldi
but
at
still.
News Nation,
Basically, they charged him for being a pimp.
genuinely thought the elevator was going to get stuck or snap. Christian Combs says that he was overjoyed. Charlucci banged on the elevator door and shouted, "Let's fucking go!" Someone else on the elevator shouted, "Diddy is free!" Wrong. He's not.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your
What
hands,
page is the stuff that
you
you're
know
claiming
what
on? What page of the
And you
Big
can
Beautiful
become
Bill
knowing
are
that
the
hard
things that
work
you're
rate.
claiming?
You
What
can
page
get
is it
quality
on? You're not
tools at
you're not
prices that
specifying
work
the
just
page.
as hard as you.
You're claiming
Because
you
the
know
only
about the
thing more
Big Beautiful
satisfying than
Bill,
a job
but
well
you're not
done
telling me what
is a
page
well
you
done.
saw these things on.
Well under
Tell me
budget.
what page they're on,
Whatever you do,
so I can go
do
to
it
that
for
page
less
and read it
than
for
Harbor
myself
Freight.
and know you're not just parroting something off CNN.
They were talking about a huge 4th of July party that they had planned to throw this week in Miami. And they were talking about it as though Diddy was going to be there. That he would just walk out of this courthouse, get on a private jet, and head right back down to the Miami mansion that was raided. Minus all of the lube and baby oil that was taken out of there. Outside the courthouse, the crowd
They were making jokes like,
absolutely
fucking,
erupted.
he's gonna go have a freak
Some of
off
them
tonight.
angry, some of them celebratory. And in one of the more strange moments of the day, baby oil was sprayed into the air and onto a dancing Diddy supporter.
He's having a baby oil party in that cell
Everybody's
tonight.
asking, what does the verdict
He's having
actually
freak-offs in his
mean?
cell.
What does it mean for him, right? We know what the words are. What are the consequences of this verdict? Not just in terms of what Sean Combs is facing at sentencing, but also how the courtroom reacted, how the public is reacting, how Now the
Make sure I
government is
fucked up on
responding.
that.
What
Oh,
we're
man,
hearing from the
fucking-
key
I
witnesses,
jump in the
as
motherfucker
well as
that
the
was
legal
from
teams
there
on
we
both
began.
sides.
I'll make
And
sure
then
I
don't
was
forget
Talking
this.
there. Yeah, it's fucked up.
There's the fallout from all of
I
it.
took the.
Number
Why
one,
the
is he
reason they
ruined?
got the 2 lines
Is he
blocked
done? Is he
right
Bill
by the curb.
Cosby? Is he a
Right,
punchline?
Oh, by the S curve?
Will he ever come back?
All the way back
You
there
know?
to back there.
Is he Robert Blake?
Me and my wife were
you
driving
beat the
one day,
legal route,
and
the
we
moral
fucking
route.
saw a truck slam into that
That's
fucking
big
wall,
and
the S curve there, a
powerful
big
too.
giant, yeah, big
We don't know
pickup.
yet.
No, not a big
And
pickup.
then,
A big semi truck
what about the
slammed
action?
into the wall on the S curve.
Could it be the max
A lot of people got killed in
terms
On that S
in
curve?
prison? 10 years each, or maybe even consecutive for those 2 charges?
I don't know the whole
Let me break this
page.
all
My
down,
sources from
First,
unbiased
I wanna show you what
news
happened
and the
inside the
right-wing
courtroom,
forums.
when that
The
verdict
price
came
of the
down, I'll
prescriptions,
describe it as
drugs,
best as possible, because you know me and how angry
drugs,
I
that's
get.
one of the
I have to
many
tell
parts
you
of the
that
bill.
the
I don't. So you don't know the exact page it's on. You're going. You're parroting what the probably the Republicans vote. The couple of Republicans that voted against the big beautiful bill. You're parroting what those couple of Republicans that voted against it are probably saying. So if you can't tell me what page it's on, how do you know you're saying what you're saying is factual? 1488.
He gave a
If you
small
can't tell
subtle
me
fist bump.
exactly what it is, why can't you? You can't tell me what page it's on in the big beautiful bill. How do you know it's factual what you're saying?
P. Diddy did not move. As the judge polled the jury, that is, asking them one by one, is this your true verdict? Combs turned his head.
Tell me what page it's
took an
on. If you
answer,
can't, if
one
you
by
didn't
one.
read this for yourself in the big beautiful
Before
bill,
dismissing the
and
jury,
you're parroting,
Judge Aaron Subramanian offered one final reminder, a quiet but powerful moment after such a high-profile verdict. He told his jurors this. There
if
is
you
an
can't tell me
important
what
reason
page it's on and
to
you didn't read it
respect
for
the
yourself in the
privacy
bill,
of your
it's not
deliberations.
valid what you're saying.
made
You're
one thing
parroting
clear,
what somebody
is that,
else
quote,
said.
the choice
Go
of
read
whether
the
to
big
speak
beautiful bill,
to
and when you
other
find it
people
in the big
about
beautiful
this
bill,
case
how it's
and
going
your
to
personal
raise
views
health
is
care
up to you.
and make it higher
What he
deductibles.
emphasized, though,
When you
was
find
this.
where it
They're
says
free to
what in the
speak
big
about
beautiful bill is going to do that on, when you find
They're
what
not
page it's on,
free
get
to
back
speak
to
about
me,
each
and
other
then I'll
or
read it,
reveal
and then I'll say you're right or
how the
wrong.
deliberations unfolded
But I got a
behind
feeling you're
closed
not right,
doors
and
or
you're just
speak for
parroting what
other
the
jurors
people that
who
the
may
Democrats,
decide to
the
stay
Republicans that voted against
Right?
it, you're just
Aid back
parroting
and
what that little bug said and plans.
Right before being led out by the U.S. Marshals, Sean Combs knelt down beside his chair
they took him to the
and
fucking
bowed his
hospital.
head
He fainted.
like he was
After they
praying.
got found guilty,
When he
or no,
stood
after
up,
they
he
denied his
turned to the
bail,
gallery
he fainted.
and
They had to take him
clapped.
away in a helicopter.
And he said, quote, thank
They
you,
got to take him to the hospital in a
love you,
helicopter.
Mom, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then the
It's
gallery
not even like it's
clapped.
he's gonna get like
And the
5 years
gallery
at the most.
cheered. His lawyers
They found
hugged,
that
family members cried.
They found him
and
guilty of
after
the two
Combs was
least
gone,
things. Basically,
they
they found
chanted,
him guilty of being a
Dream
pimp.
Team to the defense table.
Basically, it's a pimp.
Attorney Teddy
He's going to jail for
hugged
being a
Diddy's
pimp.
family
And
with
what happened to
tears
that?
streaming down her face.
He
And
beat
then
him.
his
The
lead
RICO
attorney,
case. The RICO is where you got
stood up
the
and made
RICO
a
really
bold
needs to have
request of
somebody
the
else
judge.
in it besides
Release
just you.
him. Release
Can't be in a
Sean
RICO
Combs
case.
today. Walk
That's
out
like
that
fucking
courtroom door.
like you're
Niccolo
collaborating
told
with
the judge,
somebody
and I
else to
quote,
commit a
Mr.
crime.
Combs has been given his life by this jury, end quote. He said Combs had no access to his private jet. Combs would remain in Florida,
Yeah, fireworks
and that
and,
multiple family members were willing to sign a $1 million bond. Side note, $1 million? Are you kidding me? That's like pennies to a billionaire, right? But Assistant U.S. Attorney Maureen Comey stood up, and she stood firm, and she made the government's position clear. She said prosecutors opposed Diddy's release on bail and pointed to what the jury saw during this trial. They saw extensive abuse, right? They saw prolific drug use. He didn't contend any of that, right? He didn't fight that. They saw other evidence of illegal behavior, and the defense never contested it. Especially the horrible video of beating the hell out of
Have you been to
Cassidy
by those abandoned
kicking her.
projects over by
She's down and
right
protecting
down the block? I went in
Comey
those.
told the court that Combs, quote,
I went in this plant
continued to
and the
commit
project.
a litany of crimes, end quote, even after
Am I
he knew
going there
he
one
was
day with
under
me?
federal investigation. You remember how shocked we all were that
What
James
is that
started
up
talking
there?
about these freak-offs. And when we saw the dates, we're all like, hold it.
This is after
dialing
his
your new number. I was
mansions
calling
have
your
been
old
raided.
I'll call you.
This is after he knows he's under investigation. This is
Yeah, just
after
call me.
he's
Here, call me.
hired
I got your old number.
expensive lawyers who know what's going on. And the allegation here continued to do this bad stuff.
Sounds like Minnie
Basically,
Mouse.
in their
Yeah,
view,
I gotta
hey, this
reconnect
is
the
above the law.
ball.
He didn't even care he's under investigation by the feds. So go ahead.
Is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional grade
The whole
supplies
bill,
for
but you're
every
not telling me
industry,
what page
even
it's
hard to
on,
find
Patriot
parts. And we have same-day
1488. Tell me
pickup
what
and
fuck.
next-day
Until
delivery
you
on most
show me
orders.
what page
But
it's on,
most
I don't want to hear shit out of
we
your
have
mouth.
an unwavering
1488.
commitment
Until
to
you
help
tell me
keep
you
you
read
running.
yourself in the big
Call
beautiful bill,
Grainger.com
I don't
or
believe
stop
you.
by. Grainger, for the
I don't
ones
know the whole
who
page.
get it
The
done.
sources from the bias news. I already read that right-wing forums. And those are probably the ones that voted against it.
As of today, I can tell you what they're asking for. That may change by the end of the month, but in the end, the judge told both sides, please
Shit, he's already
submit
been in there for almost a year. He's
arguments to
already
me,
got almost a year
and
served.
take the day, make a final decision by the end of day, which he did. And as for those arguments, here goes. The defense, according to the letter that they submitted to the judge, said that even though Diddy faces a maximum of 10 years per count, under the federal guidelines, they say his exposure may be closer to 21 to 27 months.
Bill, and
Total.
unless
That's
you
a
tell me
little
what
over
page
2
it's on
years.
so I could go then read it,
Right?
I don't believe what
They
you're
argued
saying.
that
But you're
he's
talking out of your
already
ass.
Put in a solid 10 months in
Look at
custody,
this
right?
guy.
No
He
bail.
says
He's been at
he's
the federal lockup in
parroting
Southern
what
Manhattan.
somebody else, what he heard from
They said he's
somebody
not a
else.
flight risk.
Fucking,
That his
he's
risk
trying to
of
claim
flight
that
is
the big
low. I don't
beautiful
agree
bill
with
that
that.
Trump just
Personally, I've
passed
seen it
today.
happen. I saw
He's
Roman
trying to claim
Polanski
that
between
it's going to
conviction
raise
and
healthcare prices.
Why did
It's going to make the healthcare companies offer shittier
He's a wealthy
plans
wrestler.
and
He's a
raise the
billionaire.
deductibles. And I'm like, I'm asking him, okay, so what page is the big beautiful bill where they're doing that? Tell me what page it's on. And then he's just telling me he's responding. It's some Republicans that, there's like 3 Republicans that voted against that big beautiful bill. He's probably reading what they said.
Preliminary calculations.
How are you going to go saying that, hey, this is what they're doing? Well, you didn't go read it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Go read the big beautiful bill yourself. Tell me what fucking page it's on, and then I'll believe you. Unless you can tell me what page it's on and you read it for your own, I can tell you the sky is purple. Does that make it true? No. If you go read it, if you go in a science book and you see the sky is blue, that makes it true.
Right?
Who's this guy commenting from China? You got a little Chinese up there.
There's a reason that we call judges Your Honor.
Riley.
There's a reason
I don't even know what
that
you said.
judges
B-A-Y-A-K-T-A-R. It's not even a word, right?
It's elevated
It's not even
above
a word,
the
right?
elevated above the jury, elevated above the well of the courtroom, elevated above defense table, prosecution's table, and elevated above the gallery. It's because they're more important than we are. To put it bluntly, it's because they have the power. We gave them the power because they show they've got judicial temperament. We trust them with the power.
That's my other channel. You got my, I'm gonna send you my YouTube channel if you want to see it.
Yeah, I think you sent it in, right?
I got 2.
Okay.
And they're gonna be wild doing this weekend. I'll show you what I already got. That's a good one. Check this out. Got a drone out there. They got a fucking drone out there recording it. What the hell the going out there? It sucks when you're stuck at the back. If cops start coming, they give you tickets. So I don't want to be stuck at the back, not by my car, and I get a ticket for not parking. like a whole party in the intersection. See, I was parked too far back, I couldn't get close. There were so many people, you get stuck so far back. I can hear that, there's 2 at once going in that video. That's like Jesus. It's not fucking trying. Look how close they get though. It's crazy how close some of these people get. I mean, I get pretty close too.
Head north.
Let's have the big one with me. That's American muscle right there. USA made. Okay. I got one where a guy's jumping over the truck. He jumps over the trucks of cars as they're drifting. I call him jump solo. There's a 300. Let's have the bigger plug. Oh, he got the camera on the back. He's got a camera in the back. He's kind of recording it. There's one cop! And then they all run. There's like hundreds of people out here. They all run from one cop. Oh no! Look at that. Hundreds of people run from the fucking cop. Oh, actually, it's more like one cop. It's like 40. No, it's like 15 cops.
In a half mile, turn right. Head north, then turn right.
Crazy building that I'm going to show you on the way back. There's some other abandoned projects. There's like 2 floors. They're like on the way back. Coming down the road.
You're going on a chase. What happened to their no chase policy?
They're supposed to have a no chase policy.
No chase. Jump on the phone. There's a link. Yeah, I'm just gonna put.
That car sounds good though, don't it?
Oh, yeah.
Hey. See? Right there. Okay. Shit's fun, man. They do it every Friday, Saturday night. All over. They go like south side. These are all in intersections. They go everywhere. They even do it like fucking, shit. They go everywhere. They go in this they'll pick this intersection right here in front of us. It's just random intersection. Oh, I look at the fucking bottom of that shit. Look, see, everyone goes in the middle. I go in the middle too, but only when it's